Good afternoon from AlphaCars. My name is Tom, coming to you from our Northampton location, and today I'm excited to share with you this 2021 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. This Wrangler is currently showing just over 48,000 original miles, and if you would like to see a high-resolution detailed photo set, please reference the listing at alphacars.com. There, of course, you will also find a free included Carfax report, alongside a long list of technical data related to the vehicle's remaining tire and brake life, as well as individual readings from each panel using our paint depth gauge. But today I'll take you on a quick condition overview around both the interior and the exterior of the Wrangler, as well as showing you some of its more interesting features. So starting here on the exterior, you'll find it finished in a nice and subtle metallic gray paint scheme. It's got a lot of metallic in there and it's all in great shape looking. I know we don't have direct sunlight, but looking into the sky you can see that beautiful reflection. It all has a beautiful gloss to it. Looks absolutely stunning. Now before we get into these details here, let's go really close to the bodywork to look for any dings, dents, or irregularities in the light reflection. Looking for any issues whatsoever. But making our way down the door, it all looks great. And all the way to the rear, it's beautiful here on the driver's side. Wheel and tire package is really cool and very nice looking on this vehicle. You can see you can see the interior of the spokes painted in that nice satin black, which matches a lot of the black accent trim around the vehicle. But the outer face in this nice poppy brushed silver that presents beautifully. And you can see that little red Willys Jeep there as a subtle homage that you'll find in a few other places on the vehicle. You can see the white lettering on those BF Goodrich tires, shining bright, looking very nice. And the same story here at the front. It all looks very nice. You can see the tires are in excellent condition as well, wearing very smooth, and they go down the road, as you would expect, very smooth. And one thing you may have noticed is a couple nicks and marks or things here on the leading edge of this fender. However, I'd like to point out that the leading edge here is wrapped in a nice paint protective film, and you can see the top of the seam right around there, which does protect the actual paint surface from anything flung up there by the contact patch of the front tire. So it's nice to see that PPF doing its job as it should. Looking here at the front fascia, of course, the classic Jeep styling you'd be used to seeing. You do have a more aggressive hood. You can see the way it's sculpted a little bit lower there with this big hump coming out of the middle and those aggressive vents on either side. You also have those tie-down points. Let's say you're strapping down a kayak or something on the roof. That's nice to have. And also if the hood is getting opened all the way back, that's also something it can rest against before impacting the glass. Now looking here at the red accents that we've seen around the car, you can see that satin black interior with the red trim on that Rubicon badge just there. You can see trail rated 4x4 in that same color scheme, as well as the classic Jeep emblem and a subtle Wrangler emblem just below. The front bumper itself matches that color contrast nicely. You have a nice rugged metal construction, as you can hear, and those red toe points coming right out of the bumper. Just a little accent, but it looks very nice. Make your way here to the passenger side. Of course, we have all of those same accents that we saw there on the driver's side, and again, the paint is in wonderful condition. Looking here at the front wheel, all looks very nice. And let's make our way really close to the bodywork. No dings, dents, or anything to report on that fender. Making our way back, it all looks very nice. All the way to the rear. And again, here on the front of the fender, you see a couple imperfections. However, they are contained to that paint protection film. That's not actually impacting the paint whatsoever. Again, the paint protection film doing its job exactly as it should. And lastly, the rear wheel looking great. Well, I say lastly because we find our way here at the back and yet another wheel. Of course, Jeep's known for having their full-size spare on display in the back. However, you don't lose functionality because they do have the backup camera going right through the bore of that wheel. So it's nice to have a full-size spare in the event that you need it. And with what people might be doing with Jeeps, it's more likely than not that someday you'll need a spare. Before I go to the back, I actually neglected to mention one really important place to look on any Jeep Wrangler, and I'm sure if you're in the market, you're familiar and you've seen it, is looking at these hinges. You always want to look and see if there's corrosion, because it usually starts to build up right around these hinges. And I'm just going to walk us around all of them here to show there's no paint bubbling or issues on those hinges. I only noticed it because I looked at these ones and remembered, oh yeah, those look brand new. And on a lot of Jeeps, even new ones, you'll start to see some corrosion taking place there. So it's nice to see here. It all checks out wonderfully. So back to business here at the rear. Taillight lenses crystal clear, looking great on both sides. That rear bumper cover looking very nice as well. And one more subtle red accent just below your license plate area. So here you have your satin full hardtop roof. Of course, being a Jeep, this can be removed, as can the doors. You just remove that hardware underneath that hinge and it picks up, comes off, one wire connection just for the window motor, and that's it. It's really simple, and those doors are lightweight, easy to tote around and stow in your garage, wherever it may be. The roof also comes apart. This rear kind of 2/3 section comes off as one unit. It's a bit more of a ordeal to get that off. However, here in the front, the T-tops, which you can see are in nice shape, those come off, and you could do that all by your own. Really easy, just some latches on the interior that we'll look at as we make our way inside. So popping the door open, again, that black and red contrast is much louder here on the interior. We have the door card with that double red stitching looking very nice. Looking at the seats, bright Rubicon emblem stitched into the backrest, matching the stitching beautifully. And you can see the seat here is in absolutely perfect condition. You could tell me this was fresh out of the showroom from the interior, and I would completely buy it. Looking there, passenger seat looks great as well. Those latches I just mentioned here, you can see one of them is just a little bit off alignment. There we go. Fix that. So you can see the T-tops come right off, nice and easy. All these latches around the corners, and then you can just lift it from the interior, take it right out, and throw it there in the back, so you have it with you in the event of rain or any kind of weather. And it's a great way to have the top down and really explore the freedom that owning a Jeep kind of offers. So let's make our way inside, and I'll waste no time firing it up. You can see it fires up with no hesitation. You have that wonderful transition from the original Willys Jeep to the modern day. Nice solid thunk when you close the door. I'm gonna slow down this air conditioning here because it's a little bit noisy. Let's see here. There we go, beautiful. So take a look at the here at the interior, pardon me. You can see just over 48,000, closer to 49,000 miles. Gauge cluster presenting beautifully with that kind of retro look. Looking across the dash, some more beautiful red stitching and a bit of storage just there. All in great condition. You have this wonderful satin, almost anodized finish with this red trim that carries all the way across, flanking that infotainment screen. Speaking of the infotainment screen, this Uconnect system has really evolved over the years and gotten much better. You can, of course, see that high definition backup camera that we mentioned going through the spare wheel. You can see your app screen, which offers some interesting things, and it can all be rearranged exactly how you want it. So if I wanted my off-road pages to be up here in the top left corner, you can see my instruction there. Press and hold, drag it to where I want it, and everything shuffles around, and it's great. It's like the home screen on your phone, so you can really personalize it exactly as you want. Now that off-road pages is a nice little segue really quick. I can bring up this menu, and if you're using the Jeep, whether it's off-road or just driving around in your driveway and you just want to see something interesting, you let this all boot up, see this interesting screen as that Jeep traverses the terrain. Here I have it on the drivetrain setting, and you'll see everything that's happening. You know your sway bar is currently connected, which is an option down here that we'll get to in a minute. Front axle is unlocked, rear axle is unlocked, and you have your all-wheel drive or two-wheel drive, whatever it may be. So if I turn the steering wheel, you'll see that represented on the display, not only from the number, but also the actual picture of those tires adjusting there. So that's a nice little touch as you move the wheel around. When I go to my pitch and roll, this is my personal favorite. It's got an old school, almost aerospace feel to it, but it'll show the live pitch and of course the roll, as well as your altitude, coordinates, etc. These are all little extras, but to me, I think they're pretty interesting. So, of course, your media screen and of course your navigation, it's all pretty standard stuff. but I like to highlight everything that I can. So moving down a little bit further, here you have some media controls as well as your climate. You have your heated steering wheel, heated front seats. Those are all great features to have. And all the switch gear looks absolutely fantastic. A little bit lower, one thing that's a really nice and subtle feature that you probably know about Jeeps is the window switches are here central to the vehicle. Because if they were to have them there on the doors, it just adds wiring and connections, and more importantly, weight. So having them located just here in the center is a great way to get around that. And of course, they control the windows automatic down and press and hold for up. Great decision by Jeep there. You have your media inputs under this cover with a couple USB options as well as an auxiliary input. You have your front and rear, you have differential controls, you have your sway bar, off-road, it's all available just down here, just ahead of your transfer case selector here with your 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, and of course your 4-low. Gear selector here has a subtle nod to the Willys as well, and a nice little red selector switch there with that red stitching. A couple of cup holders as well as a physical e-brake, which I love to see. I don't like having the handbrake be a button or a switch. I'm much more preferable to having this kind of setup. And of course, your center console armrest with very deep storage just there. And you can see I'm sitting in a comfortable driving position for the Jeep Wrangler. My hand fully extended is just at the wheel, so it's nice and comfortable. And now let's take a quick look here in the second row, where you'll find, again, stunning condition here on all of the seat surfaces. Drop down this central one, if I knew how to do it. There we go. And it reveals some cup holders and a bit of storage, but can easily be stowed back up for a third seat in the middle. Now, sitting behind where I was comfortably up front as a 6'4" adult, you can see my knees have ample space, got a couple inches to the seat, and probably a good 3 or 4 inches to the ceiling here with my head, so no shortage of space whatsoever. And of course, if you take off this rear portion of the hardtop, your headroom is now unlimited headroom. So that's always a great feeling, looking up and having the sky above you. Another thing Jeep did that was smart with these central window controls, they also removed the speakers from the doors, because who wants to take their doors off the Jeep and then just listen to wind noise? That's no fun. So Jeep, in this really clever arrangement, has the speakers above you, and it's part of the structure of the vehicle, so they'll always be there. And there's some speakers there up on the dashboard as well, as you can see. And having the speakers here, they sound great. They've done a really good job at designing the stereo to produce a full sound despite being in kind of wildly different positions than you might be used to. And you can see the rest of the roll bar behind me just there. Lastly, as I sneak my way out, let's take a look here at the rear. So I pop open the back, kind of door here, and you can see a nice little info plate showing both the 2-door, the 4-door, showing its water depth capabilities. Just a nice plaque that they've been putting on Jeeps for some time. And then I can lift up this rear window. Now here in this bag, this is where you're gonna put those T-tops for the roof, so you can stow them away in there and easily put them right in the back of the Jeep. Of course, those second row seats can fold right down and give you a lot more space here in the back. You do have your original all-weather floor mats, and built into the side here is an Alpine, pardon me, F1 fan. You have an Alpine stereo subwoofer. It produces great bass, rich tone, and of course, with the doors open, everyone's gonna know what you're listening to, and you're gonna have lots of bass. It's a great time. Drop that down and close that little door, and the Jeep's all back together. So if you have any further questions related to this 21 Wrangler Rubicon, please reference the listing at alphacars.com, and there you will find all of the relevant contact information. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your day. We hope to hear from you soon. Thank you from AlphaCars.